private equity space, Scott, has been available for some time. Why do you think now is the right time for firms like ours to bring these opportunities to our high net worth clients?
The reason people have invested in private equity is really for two reasons. The first is return enhancement and the second is diversification. I think if you look over the last 30 years, returns have been really solid in the private market space. There's been low volatility and the risk of drawdowns actually been much lower than public market alternatives. So I think if you put all those reasons together over a long term, private markets have offered investors a really good risk-adjusted returns. I think if you take a step back and want to understand why it hasn't been accessed so much by the high net worth space, you've really got to start looking at implementation. So I think some of the issues there is that traditional private markets investments had a couple of issues with the way you get invested. So often they're 10-year lock-up funds, they've got no liquidity, they have a drawdown and distribution model, which makes it hard to get invested and stay invested. And often the minimums are quite large, $10 million plus. And so I think, there's been an issue with how people access private markets for those high net worth investors. What's changed in the last probably 3 to 5 years has been some regulatory change. So particularly in the US and Europe, the regulators have made it more friendly for high net worths to actually access these types of investments. And then the second piece has been around product development. So a lot of the large global private market investment firms have actually set up structures that make it a lot easier for high net worth investors to invest in. So rather than being 10-year lockups, they've got some form of liquidity in many cases. They've got smaller minimum investments. So instead of having to put $10 million into a single fund, strategy or firm, you can put smaller investments across a range of firms and strategies. A lot of the global fund managers have actually come to market with much more accessible product. So these are products that are often in semi-liquid structure, providing some forms of limited liquidity to investors. They've got lower minimums, so you can invest a smaller amount that allows you to invest across a broader range of strategies and fund managers. And then finally, they are fully invested structures. So there's no capital calls or distribution that allows you to get invested and stay invested from day one.